lovely friends. My name is Sunny and welcome to my channel, Sunshine Wellness. On this channel, we share content to help you flourish mind, body, and spirit and live a holistically balanced life. If this sounds like something you're interested in, please consider subscribing. Just a little bit about me. I am a certified yoga instructor, a certified Ayurvedic nutritionist and wellness coach, and I really enjoy helping people live their best, healthiest lives. In today's video, we're going to talk about how stress affects the body, how it's stored in the body, and we'll cover some tips on what we can do to release the stress, release the unpleasant sensations and feelings that come from stress, and how we can become fully restored and heal our body. First, let us talk about the mind-body connection. That is so important as we begin. It's imperative that we understand that the mind and the body are not two separate entities. They're treated that way sometimes, but physical health and emotional health are intimately intertwined, and that is what is known as the mind-body connection. The mind-body connection is a concept that has been studied for centuries by philosophers, scientists, and healthcare professionals, and it refers to the relationship between our mental and our emotional states and our physical health. And this connection suggests that our thoughts and our feelings, even our attitudes, can influence our physical well-being and vice versa. And I'll give you an example. If you've ever felt your stomach become queasy or tighten up when you're anxious, then you've experienced the mind-body connection. Stress is an example of the mind-body connection in action. When we're faced with stressors, we carry stress in our bodies. And so I'll cover just some of the typical areas of where we store stress. And so let's begin with the back, neck, shoulders, and jaw. And this is typically where men, although women do as well, tend to carry stress. Shoulders is where we store resentment, burdens, responsibilities, and literally feeling the weight of the world on our shoulders. And so you may find that when you're experiencing that type of stress, the stress of responsibilities and pressure, you may begin to start to feel and experience pain in your neck, in your shoulders, and that is where these emotions are becoming stored. Now let's talk about hip pain. Hip pain comes from the emotions and stress that we don't know how to handle or want to deal with. So hips are sometimes referred to as our emotional junk drawer. And that is because hips are considered that storage place for stress, trauma, and emotions that we have accumulated over time, but maybe not have dealt with. And there is a reason for that. This is because the body may instinctively tighten in the psoas muscle as a protective response to stress or a traumatic event. The psoas muscle is this long ribbon-shaped muscle in the lower back that's important for functions, including stabilizing the spine, helping to maintain proper posture. And so this psoas muscle becomes tightened when we're experiencing stress. Women, although men, typically carry stress in their hips. And so you may find that you may have issues with hip pain, sciatic nerve, issues in the lower back, and that is potentially from the stress and worry and trauma and emotions that you may be feeling that you have not been able to address. And so we as women have to be particularly careful about this. The psoas muscle connects the upper and the lower body, and this means our pelvis area is full of the creative reproductive organs, and it contains these centrally located muscles that connect also our diaphragm. So that's the breath and the diaphragm to our legs. This is the core of our body, and it's important both physically and emotionally because nestled in the psoas are the kidneys, which are responsible for filtering toxins in the body, as well as adrenal glands, which control the fight, flight, or freeze response. Now, let's circle back to the mind-body connection because this is how we're going to really truly see where the emotions come into play here. The fight, flight, or freeze response is our body's natural reaction to perceived danger. And so when we're under mental and emotional stress, our psoas muscles respond by tightening up. And even when the stress is gone and the tension or the experience is gone, the tension will still linger in the body and in the hip area, and it will contribute to things like headaches and lower back pain. And over time, this tension leads to chronic pain, stiffness, and other symptoms, and without it being addressed, it does get worse. So let's talk about what we can do to help relieve our bodies of the stress that we're feeling. So first, let's start with just exercise. Whether or not we're having pain that is directly related to stress or not, we should be exercising, right? But things like light walking, swimming, yoga will get our muscles and joints moving and promote circulation and healing in our pain points. So even starting with gentle stretching, like 10 minutes in the morning or 10 minutes before bed, can help relieve some of the tension and the stress in our body. So the other thing that we can focus on is emotional healing. So trauma and emotional stress are processed by our brains and through the production and release of hormones and chemicals in our bodies. These chemicals enter our bodies from the brain and have physical effects on our organs, on our joints, on our muscles. So one of the wisest and best things that we can do is start to uncover the emotional trauma and start to work on the healing process. And whether that's speaking to your spiritual leader, a mental health professional, it's so important that we really and truly connect to what the stress and trauma is that we are experiencing and actually deal and heal from it. Some other ways that we can release stress and trauma from our body and help to heal the pain are through acupuncture and massage and meditation and even aromatherapy. As a yoga instructor myself, I would be remiss not to mention how the benefits of yoga can truly impact our bodies and help with healing. Let's take the hips, for example. Some good options for releasing trauma and stress in our hips are really to focus on poses that are hip flexor stretches, hip opening poses. These postures and poses synced with our breath is helping to release the stress and the trauma from our hips. Things like goddess pose is great for releasing trauma and stress from our hip area. And then there's the creative movement of belly dance and just exercising, doing stair steps, even hula hooping that helps to release the stress and the trauma that can get stored so easily in our hips. And lastly, every body is different and each body is different. And so where one person holds stress in their body may not be the same for another. But the reality is that when we are under stress, again, going back to the mind and body connection, it is connected. And so the important thing to note is to remember that you have to deal with it. Whatever the stress is, whatever the trauma is, whatever is going on emotionally, those toxic feelings are going somewhere. So it's best that we don't ignore them, that we approach it from a wellness standpoint of how can I heal my body completely, both emotionally and physically. If you stuck around and you made it to the end of this video, put a heart emoji in the comment section, and of course, leave your thoughts and your opinions, and would love to hear from you. So there you have it. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up, and if you want to see more of my content, follow me over on Instagram at Sunshine Wellness 24. Thanks so much for watching, and until next time, be well.